Howdy folks, this is my Outlast 2 Insane Difficulty 1 battery use video walkthrough. And again folks, we are at the final part, which is probably going to have the trickiest parts of this game compressed into one towards the end. Now the Nick and Laird section was probably one of the hardest sections of the game in my opinion, of course. But these sections can be very tricky, particularly because if you don't know where you're going, case in point right now, as you see me flickering the night vision on the camera on and off, wasting battery, which hopefully when you get to this section, you guys will be more familiar with it than I am, and you'll do much better than I do. But yeah, if you don't know where you're going, it can really screw you over in this section. Because there's a lot of twists, there's a lot of turns, there's a lot of very last-minute decisions, last-minute turns, and hallways that you have to navigate in chase sequences. And if you don't know where you're going, you can really screw up, and again, it'll put you back at the title screen on Insane Difficulty. Now folks, don't get me wrong, there is a section coming up, and it's the section just before you get into the mines, where I died on stream. When I was streaming this game, I was trying to attempt my Outlast 2 Insane run with only one battery, and I completely failed. I failed not once during that stream, which was the part where I got to where Marta is, and then the second time I failed, unfortunately, was the section where you face a lot of Val's companions in that shack just before you take the elevator into the mines. And again, if you're watching this, you're probably familiar with this game, and you want to just maybe learn and see somebody else do it and hopefully get some tips. Because I know that's how I am, and once I see other people do it, and if they do it successfully, then I feel a lot more confident with what I'm doing. But anyway, folks, you're going to be navigating through these computer labs right now, which takes me back to elementary school and how there were computer labs in the first place. And I did have them growing up in high school too, and there's just a certain charm to them, and I'm glad they incorporated that into this game because, again, when Blake was going to school, it was many years ago, and you know, there weren't smartphones, there probably weren't any cell phones or any smaller computers, and you're seeing a lot of the cathode ray tube computers that most people grew up with, and especially people my age, and I'm nearing my 30s right now, and yeah, it puts a smile to my face seeing that in a game, because you can see that the devs really put a lot of time and effort into the history and the research, and even little touches where, you know, the time period of technology is correct, and they really find a good way of implementing that into this game. So you'll see Licky Tongue again. All you have to do is just turn around and run back up the stairs and out the door like you saw. But then, of course, you get sucked in by the tongue and thrown into this great pool of blood right here. But no matter, you're not in danger. That's entirely scripted, of course, as you will know from playing the game once or twice beforehand. So now, we're entering the first relatively tricky part of this section here. This entire section encompasses a lot of the chases of the game that can be very finicky at times if you don't know what you're doing. So hopefully you'll learn from this run, and of course I take no credit from my tactics and no credit from my strategies here, because I did learn from other people and other YouTube videos that have already been posted. So right now what you're going to do is you're going to wait right here, wait for the guy to kick open the door, and once he does, just wait a second right here, you run right past him, just like that, and you should be fine. Again, you have to be very quick. Now you'll see me get get trolled by this wall over here because I didn't know where the hell I was going back then. My nerves got the best of me. Because this is probably my third or fourth attempt doing insane at this point. This successful run entirely from start to finish. Because, like I said before, I did practice a lot on Nightmare, and I practiced a lot of the chapter select and rehearsing those sections that I didn't feel comfortable with, including this one. So, I would stay away from the walls, by the way, when those guys stick their hands through them and try to grab you, because I don't want to take any chances, and I know I didn't take any chances, but I recommend that you guys don't either, because I don't know if they can actually grab you and it'll be a one-hit kill. So again, push this shelf here and immediately go out the window and it'll transition back to the school. Again, another seamless transition that I really do enjoy from this game. And as you're crawling through, you'll see, you know, the remnants of Licky Tongue going through the hallway. And I know he's not called Licky Tongue, folks. I only call him Licky Tongue to be funny and, you know, to throw a bit of charm and some lightheartedness to this, you know, gruesome horror walkthrough of mine. So I hope you guys enjoy that as much as me when I say it out loud. So yeah, now we're gonna go through this hallway, and you're gonna see many bodies of Jessica being hung. And if you actually wait there and watch the cross like I did in my first playthrough, you'll see blood start to pour from the wall, and the cross will fall to the ground. But yeah, folks, this run, compared to a lot of other runs, does not require a whole lot from you. Yes, it's a long run. It's probably between 2 and 3 hours long, maybe perhaps more. But if you're a speedrunner, or if you're well versed in this game and you know it left and right, just like the back of your hand, you're going to do just fine. And it might even be quicker than that. So, now we're going into the library section. Now, there's a very handy map that somebody posted, I believe on Reddit, of where exactly to go so you don't use up all your battery in this location. I highly recommend Googling that map, and in fact, I might even put a link in the description of this video once I do upload it. So I will definitely do that for you guys so it's easily accessible. Because I believe on my stream I didn't use a map, and I used almost all of my battery in that part, which turned out to be for nothing because I did die in the section just before entering the mines. And you need as much battery as possible to get through that section in the mines, because that could be the darkest section of the game, probably. And the most claustrophobic, which I'm a big fan of. So now, folks, you're going to hear Jessica yell, "He's coming," as she has been doing throughout this entire run. And you'll see me be a little bit on the defensive here, because I'm very nervous, and you'll see my nerves start to spike throughout this entire last section of the game. Because again, you don't want to start from the title screen again, and that can be the scariest part of this run. So now you're going to run back here, behind this shelf. You don't necessarily need battery, but I use it because, again, I don't trust myself to navigate through the dark like that. Because knowing me, I'm probably going to clip on something, and once again, I'll have to start at the title screen. So yeah, you'll be pulled out over here. And just look to your right, you're going to see a cart. And just like the theme of this game, you're going to move it up against the wall and climb right over it to traverse this area appropriately. So yeah. Move along here. You'll see me use needless battery again. Try not to use as much battery as possible like I am doing, folks. I know you can do much better than me. I use it again because I'm nervous. I don't know this area well enough, and if you guys can save more battery than I can, you will do just fine. So in this section right here, I don't know if this is a time section. I assume that if you take too long finding this cart and moving it over here, the enemies that are breaking into this room can kill you. So just do it as fast as possible. Just to not take any risks, not take any chances, so that way you don't die. And yeah, you'll see me have my camera out, because again, I don't know if I'm going to reach a section that is going to be particularly dark or particularly light, so I just keep it out just to be safe. Because again, I'm not taking any risks in this section, even though you don't necessarily need your camera out or anything like that. So yeah, if you looked ahead, you're going to see a guy going over this beam here. You don't need to worry about that. He won't turn around and kill you. Now, I'm not sure if you go so fast across that beam and actually run into him that he probably will kill you. But don't worry about that. Now you're going to fall on here, you're going to transition back to the past and see Jessica's dead body. And this is probably one of my favorite sections, and I always smile while watching this because in my playthrough, in my very first playthrough of this game, I was here for probably about 30 to 40 minutes trying to figure out what to do. And I say that because, again, it's not very evident what you're supposed to do in this section. So you'll see that you have to quickly run down the hall and duck underneath the stall and go to the final stall. And I position myself between the wall and this toilet seat here, this lovely toilet seat that, if you were in an actual school, would not be as clean as it is right now. I'm sure when the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Scarlet come out, you're going to see probably remnants of crap on the side of this toilet, or even dust or blood, or depending on whatever gender bathroom you're in, you're going to see that there. And the devs are going to really take a lot of time putting this detail in because they have the technology to do so. But anyway, once that jump scare happens, you're going to run back down this hall. And you're not necessarily in danger here, but just in case, just run down. You're going to see yet again Jessica's body hanging from there. Open up this door, look to the left here. I use my battery needlessly again because I don't know where I'm going entirely, and I use it just to be safe. But any sections where you don't have to use battery, try not to use it, folks. And yeah, you're going to go over this window here and shimmy your way to the left. And we're about to approach the section that I died in on stream. So yeah, go ahead and jump over this gap here. And you'll see me cautiously and ever so carefully approach this place. Now, whenever you do shimmy along a balcony like this, Blake won't fall off the side. It's not trigger sensitive or anything, like if you move the analog forward, he'll fall off. So don't worry about that. You're going to push this cart to the front of you here, and that pit there is going to enter into the area that I died in. As soon as you fall down this area, be on your toes and get ready to run forward. So here, did you see that guy to the right up there with the blade sticking out? I accidentally turned right into that section during my stream, and that resulted in a death. So don't do that. You have to run a little further down. Once you crawl up here, go to the right, go forward, hop up this wall, climb up, go straight ahead, and keep going, and you're home free. Again, it looks much simpler than it actually felt. The feeling is entirely different, folks. When you're actually in the moment and you're starting from the beginning of the game to the end like this, it's a lot scarier, in my opinion, of course. So yeah, you can find out that I'm actually full on bandages, which I was shocked at. And I'm checking my battery to see how much I have. I'm in the red already, but you actually have a lot more than you think you do. So you activate that switch here, and as soon as that As soon as that minecart goes through the wall, you're going to run straight ahead as fast as you can, because the guys behind you that are chasing you are way faster than you think they are. So just keep going for it. Vault over this part, go up the stairs to the right, keep running. The bloody rain just looks absolutely sexy in this section, doesn't it? With the red, with the hues, the crimson, it just looks amazing. You'll start to see here that my screen is flashing back and forth, and that indicates that Blake's stamina is at almost 0. So I ignore it because at this section I just need to get to the mines, and I was already nervous enough because I made it past the part that I died in on stream, and so you'll see me run to the elevator, hit the lever, and you're safe for now. So yeah, folks, you'll see on the side here that Blake is going down as far as possible. And in this moment of chillness and this relaxation, for the most part, I can go on a little tangent. So, folks, again, this run is entirely doable as long as you practice. Practice, 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 as I said in my other 2 videos. This is not Wolfenstein 2 Mein Leben. You don't have to wield a gun. You don't get into gunfights where the CPU will take you down in an instant, perfect aim you, and aim for your head and you will die. It's nothing like that. With the exception of the Nick and Laird section, where they can shoot you with one arrow, and a flaming arrow to the skull will kill you instantly. Apart from that, it isn't Mein Leben. I don't desire to do Mein Leben in my life. I don't wish to do that ever. That is probably the game that I will never touch because, again, I know I will not platinum that game. Props to whoever was able to sit through that entire game from start to finish without dying and get that trophy. That is one of the rarest trophies, again, on PSN profiles. And what was hilarious, guys, is a lot of people tend to make these petitions online to get as much signatures that they can to change the trophy list for a certain game because it's just too challenging. And okay, I understand that Mein Leben is probably one of the rarest trophies and demanding trophies out there. But if you can do it, if you can put the time in and go for a challenging trophy like that, props to you. And that's why it's a trophy. But people, again, and like myself, I'm really obsessed with getting 100% in things. But if I had the time and effort to get through something like that, if I actually had the time, first of all, to practice those sections in Wolfenstein from start to finish, go through probably, half of the game, die, and then be able to start over again and do it, fine. Then I deserve the trophy, like as anybody else would. As anybody else who put in the time and effort to do something like that. Okay, fine. But there are people out there that want to make petitions and change something like that. And there has been trophies that have been patched. There have been. And the first game that comes to mind that I remember off the top of my head is God of War Ascension, with the Trials of Archimedes, if I remember correctly. I believe that's what it's called. The Trials of Archimedes, where there were no checkpoints from start to finish on normal difficulty, and a lot of the journalists reviewing that game were very upset because they couldn't get past it. They couldn't get past it because it was too challenging. Okay, guys, now let me get off that tangent for a bit because this part is a little tricky. You saw before how I opened that door. You really need to open that door for this section because you'll see why. As soon as you move ahead, you'll trigger a chase scene. sprint behind you and run until you see that light to the crack that you have to crawl in. You'll see right now soon. Run past this area, see that light at the bottom, go to the left, go ahead and enter this crack. This guy will pull you out. Now run to the right up here and close the door. Again, with the gamma up, with the brightness up, you'll be able to navigate that without your camera. Wait a little bit here, few seconds. Open the door. You'll see I'm waiting, just so I don't get bombarded by somebody. And then go ahead and run immediately to the crack again. There will be a second enemy that comes out and will chase you. He will pull you out now. That enemy will now clear the area, this hallway here, to be able to pass through without any harm. So now all you gotta do is just keep running forward like I am, and you'll be safe. And the enemies will not follow you back here. But yeah, folks, if you're willing to put in the time, the energy, and the blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak, to get a trophy that you really want to get, you'll do it. And especially a trophy as asinine as Mein Leben for Wolfenstein 2. Now, I know I will not have the time or strength to get that trophy, and that's why I choose not to pick up that game. Because again, I want to keep my PlayStation profile for trophies clean. Now, once I do get a PC, I really do want to play that game because the difficulty underneath Mein Leben, which is pretty much the same difficulty as Mein Leben in terms of enemy damage, enemy awareness, how aggressive the AI is the same as Mein Leben, of course, but you do get checkpoints. And I really want to play that eventually, and I know that the game will look much better on PC and it would also run much better, so I want to wait until I'm able to buy the parts to build a PC to play that game, because I'm really interested in trying it. Because I really do like the challenge, and I want to play the hardest difficulty, but have checkpoints to be able to play it. And again, the Steam achievements, I won't care much for those once I get to them, because I know that I won't have time to get all the achievements on Steam, and yeah, I just want to lay back and just do certain challenge runs for particular games of my interest and stick with those. So yeah, folks. Now, once you get past that chase sequence, you're pretty much safe. You'll see that I'm waiting here to recharge my stamina, that wonderful invisible stamina bar that we all know and love. And you'll see me navigate this really dark hallway. And I'm trying to navigate it without using my camera, and you'll see there's actually a stalactite, I believe, that's hanging from the ceiling that you have to crawl underneath. And now once you do, you'll enter this cutscene here, and we'll run into Val.
What have you done to Lynn? Where is she?
And this next sequence is a bit tricky. Again, if you practice it very often, if you put in the time and know the feel of the corridor and the tunnels you have to navigate, it won't be too bad.
Where's Lynn?
But yeah, the game is not shy in showing nudity or the body or anything. So you're going to see a lot of that through this run. It is rated M for mature after all, so.
Crazy motherfucker! Where is she?
But yeah, folks, and I want to stress again that a lot of the methods I'm using in this game, especially in this run, I don't take credit for. These are methods that I've seen other YouTubers use, whether it's PS4 trophies, whether it's power picks, any of those folks. I saw a lot of those techniques. I purely just wanted to record this run to prove that I was able to do it, and I took a lot of pleasure in this project because Not a lot of people can do this. This trophy is pretty rare on PSN profiles. I think it's in the 1 point something %. And I was really proud of it, and I just wanted to show you guys that I was able to do it. And hopefully you'll get some entertainment from my commentary and also learn from my tactics. But yeah, this next section coming up, it's very tricky if you don't know where you're going. So you'll see here that I'm flashing my night vision on my camera as I navigate through this watery corridor. The lighting looks especially amazing in this part, especially with the sparks in that tunnel up there that you have to get past. But before doing that, you have to deactivate the switches that power that hallway so you don't get electrocuted when you traverse that area. You'll see me enter the water here. The water effects look amazing in this game. They really do look pretty realistic in terms of blurriness underneath the water, but again, not entirely blurry enough so you don't know where you're going, as it's a game. So that light you saw walk across, that was Val with her candlelight walking across. If she ever catches you, it will be a game over, and you'll start at the title screen again. So what I do is I stay underneath here because, again, if you hit that light switch up ahead, or that light bulb, your head will hit it, and Val will automatically know that you're there. So now what you're going to do is I use my night vision to flick on and off to find this switch here. I activate it, or deactivate it, I should say. I turn around and I follow the hallway back here. Again, if you hit that light up ahead, Val will know where you are. So I go under the water here, and I pray that I don't be discovered by Val in this section, because my nerves are at skyrocket mode right now. And you'll see her over there to the right. You see her traversing the way over there. And I make my way as far as I can away from her. So now you'll see her walking the hallway over there. Then I turn around, I exit the water, and I deactivate the final switch. I think in the lower difficulties there is only one switch, and that is the only one if I remember. So now she comes back out. I go underneath this area here. There's a little opening here that you can go. And I use the wooden wall up ahead to divide myself between Val and me. So now I'm flicking my night vision on and off because now I see that the sparks are deactivated, so you won't get electrocuted. And I make my way through the tunnel. And again, if you're not familiar with that section, it can be one of the most trickiest parts. So again, practice as much as you can on Nightmare. Can't stress that enough. So now we're going to move this trolley down the tunnel. It's going to go that way, and this is a little puzzle area here. So the trolley goes up there. What I'm doing is I'm waiting for it to run back down through the gravity physics of this game. And I'm going to activate this lever here. So that way the track changes, and the next time I pull the trolley back, it'll break open that wall. But yeah, you're not in danger during this section at all. Val's not going to sneak up behind you and kill you with her shiv. So no worries. But yeah, folks, if you are watching this walkthrough, how do you feel about your run? What was your struggles? Where did you find the easiest parts? Where did you find the hardest parts for this run? If you were able to successfully get through it, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you thought of it. Was there an easier method to use during a particular section that I didn't use? Feel free to share with me, because I like to hear things like that. It's very interesting to me to see. So now here I am trying to navigate this section. There's a little fence down there that you had to hop over, by the way. And again, you'll know as you practice and keep moving forward. This next section you need battery for because Val is going to appear on my left. And you need to go as fast as possible and crawl along this rock face right here. Keep moving forward. Do not let up on that left analog. Keep moving forward. You'll see me flick the night vision on and off like it's a strobe light party. You know, in the club. All I need is some music here to make it more entertaining. But yeah, keep moving forward. You're going to make your way to the right here. Don't go to the left or else Val will catch up to you and kill you. So keep moving forward. You're going to see me go straight ahead here. Watch as my battery is getting lower and lower. Don't worry, you have more than you think you do. Remember that. You have more battery than you think you do. And I actually run out of battery towards the end of this run, as you'll see coming up. In the very last chase sequence in the mines. But once you leave the mines, you don't have to use your camera at all to light the way. So you have that going for you, and that comfort to let you know that you'll make it through this run successfully. So yeah, I put my night vision away. I put my camera down because this campfire up ahead navigates me. So keep moving forward towards that campfire. Do not let up, because enemies will drop in and see you. And then I believe when you enter this area with the ladder, no enemies can get over here to you. But again, I don't take a chance, and I climb up the ladder right away. But yeah, folks, as I said before, I'm still working on God Eater as I record this commentary. And the last game in my backlog will be Super Meat Boy, which will probably be a lifelong project, and I don't know if I'll be able to get through that game or not, but that will require a lot of practice on my part. Because there are better players out there than I am, and the people who have tried to 100% the trophies and achievements on Super Meat Boy told me that it does take a lot of practice, and I trust them. I trust their opinion, and that's why I'm kind of putting it on the back burner until I absolutely have to play it. But I do appreciate the challenge of that game. I really do like that not a lot of people have accomplished it. And that's what makes me drawn to it in the first place. That's just how I work. I like doing things that not a lot of people can do. And that's just how I am. I really enjoy it, and I know there's a lot of people out there who feel the same way as me. There's also a good amount of people who don't want to touch games like that. Or they want to play them, but they don't really care about getting 100% in the achievements or trophies. And that's totally fine, folks. Everybody is their own player in terms of games. Everybody can choose to play them the way they want to. As much as they want to. And that's the beauty of video games, is that you can play them the way you want, and you don't necessarily have to play them the way other people do. So it's a creative space for you to experiment, for you to find the best method that works for you, and you go from there, and hopefully enjoy every step of the way. Even when you're failing, even when you're making mistakes, and you have to restart and start from scratch again. Alright folks, this next section is going to be entirely scripted. You don't have to worry about anything here. But yeah, in those cave areas, before dropping down in this section, if you know them well enough, you don't have to use as much battery as I did. But yeah, just be sure you have a bar or two of battery in this final chase sequence, and you should be fine. But again, you'll see in that final chase sequence in the mines that I run out of battery. And when we get to that section, I'll explain a bit more, because you don't necessarily have to have battery to be able to see in front of you, which is what I discovered at the end of this run. And I'll explain a bit more when we get there. So we watch this wonderful cutscene with a transition between Val and Jessica now on top of you. As you're kids and you're experimenting and learning about yourselves and you do goofy things like this, which some people have childhoods like these, other people don't. But yeah.
Not unless you answer. No.
This is the part where you
have to give up.
see a lot of exposition learning about Blake and Jessica's history and the trauma that Jessica went through. Which, as a counselor myself, I appreciate stuff like this. I love learning about the characters, I love learning about their history, and that's part of the reason why I love being a counselor, is I learn about other people's experiences and their history and see how it influences them as a person today. Because even though most people will want to forget any traumatic experiences in their history, learning a lot about that trauma, learning why it happened, where it came from, and how it influences you as a person, and being able to rewire your brain and rewire how you think can really help you. A lot of the spiels I give to clients is I compare counseling to plumbing underneath your kitchen sink. Let's say you grew up with certain habits that don't work necessarily for you. And that is kind of like plumber's putty, masking a very bad leak in your pipes. You keep using that plumber's putty, keep using it, but eventually the pipe just gives in and breaks. And that habit doesn't work very well for you anymore. Let's say that I explain that therapy is breaking apart that pipe slowly and eventually you replace it with completely new piping. The process of breaking apart that piping is very painful at first. Addressing that trauma that went through your life is extremely painful. Which is why you do it in therapy, which is why you do it in a safe space with a counselor, with a trained counselor. And talking about that trauma can eventually result in a lot of pain at first. But with the process of therapy, with learning what you can do to help overcome it, and change your habits in the present day, change your thinking, your irrational thinking in the present day, can help a lot of people and live more peaceful lives, live a life where they're not burdened as much by that trauma. A lot of people will be open to talking about that in therapy, but other people won't. And I love that about my job. I love being able to help people navigate through that trauma. And of course, it's not as easy as what I said just now to go through that. It's way more difficult than that, and everybody's experience is different, and everybody's journey is different. But yeah, it's what I love about my job and what I love about helping other people. And I enjoy that challenge. And sometimes having an outlet when I realize I can't help people as much as I think I can, or they are not willing to put in the time and effort to help themselves and make those changes, can be very frustrating as a counselor. So like I said, video games is a good outlet for me. Having a hobby like this is a good outlet for me to just understand that I have control in video games and you have control to be able to just play. And play the way you want to. Because in a job as a counselor, you're not able to do that. You have to be on at all times when you're working with people, because those are people's lives. And you have to be very careful in what you say, be extremely careful in what you say. And at the end of a work week, that can be very exhausting at times. So using a hobby like video games as a way to manage that better. And what's interesting is that people will probably ask me, Kevin, why do you play such traumatic video games like this, where you open a door and you see a dead person's body at the bottom of the stairs? And I say to them, it's not the same as reality. I am able to distinguish this from reality and know that this is entirely fake. So now, folks, this is the final chase sequence of the mines. You're going to quickly turn around. I flash my battery on and off, my night vision on and off. Keep running straight towards the right. Go this way, go in the left-hand side of this fork, and drop down. I believe when you drop down, you're essentially safe. I put my camera away, as you'll see my battery is at 0 right now. So keep running towards this light to get away from the mine section. Keep running as fast as you can. Again, right now, as soon as you drop down, you're not necessarily in danger, but I don't wait around to take a chance. But as you can see right now, my battery is at 0. And when I activate the night vision, even though I can't see as well with 100% night vision or a little bit more night vision, you can still see a little bit in front of you. And yeah, folks, as soon as you open that door, you get back to Lynn, you're reunited with Lynn, and you don't have to use your battery ever again. So congratulations on that. You just got through one of the most challenging sections of the game if you made it to this point. And now, all we have left is one final chase sequence with Marta. And you have Lynn's wonderful head obscuring your vision to the left. And I think when you were walking with Jessica in the flashback down the hallway, it was preparing you for a section like this, where you have Lynn's head obstructing your view to the left, which is a little bit of an annoyance to me, but you'll get used to it as you practice this section, so no worries. But yeah, there's a lot of perspectives on horror games. There's a lot of perspectives on survival horror, particularly. Especially when it comes to Resident Evil, and especially with the newest Resident Evil 2 remake. Where you have tools and you have to manage your equipment appropriately in order to survive. And a lot of people think that when you don't have weapons in a game like this, it's not necessarily a fun game. And that's entirely your opinion, folks. Having no weapons and having no means to fight back against certain enemies can be very scary. And that's a good horror element in my opinion. But the way Outlast 2 did it, and I explained it a lot, it wasn't in my opinion very well done. And I liked more of that claustrophobia. I liked more of being able to be trapped in that asylum in the first game. And that's why I like Outlast 1 more. Alright, so in this you have to wait a little bit until Marta turns the corner and starts running after you. Until then, start running, or else she will cut you off in this hallway and will kill you. And then everything you did the past 2-3 hours, whatever you put into this game, has been for nothing. So, navigate this section, follow it through. You'll see here that I almost got caught off guard there and didn't know where I was going until I found out where. So, as soon as you get to this clearing here, that is the final section of the game where you are able to die. And the rest of it will be purely just walking through in a walking simulator in the final sections of the game. But yeah, this is it, folks. Once you get to this point, you have platinumed the game and made it through Outlast 2 insane difficulty with only one battery. And congratulations if you're able to get through there. But yeah, this is a great part.
Fuck you! And fuck your god!
Because Lynn says that. Which I always have a smile when she says that. And Marta, the ASMR specialist, is no more, folks. that is the end of her.
Getting worse.
So yeah, the rest of this game is very much downtime, and all you have to do is just navigate this section. I don't know that if you walk through that fire in front of you whenever the lightning strikes, you're able to take damage or will die. But it is definitely not the time of this game, and in this run especially, where any single touch will damage you or kill you in the insane run. So don't try to experiment during this run. Experiment where you're able to have checkpoints, folks. And that is my biggest recommendation.
Chapel! We can take shelter!
So now you find yourself back at the chapel where you were once at, looking for Lynn in the first part of the game. And you'll see that the cross just flew up in the air because there's this huge storm and there's a lot of lightning and there might be a tornado, who knows. But yeah, I want to return back to my original discussion about survival horror and what it means to folks. I really like the fact that you're able to not have weapons and be able to navigate an environment where you're not able to fight back.
We have to get inside!
But a lot of people think that that is not fun to them. And a lot of people think that not being able to fight back is not fun. Like in a game like Silent Hill, where you have weapons to fight back enemies, a game like Resident Evil, where you have guns and you're more trained and you're actually a trained professional using the guns. Unlike Silent Hill, where you're just an average Joe picking up a gun and firing it blindly. And they make it a point of that, like for example in Silent Hill 1, Harry Mason sucks at using a gun, and he is not able to aim properly. But I love the diversity in horror games. I love being able to not being able to fight back, like in Outlast. Like in games like, I think it's a Paranormal Activity game or something like that. Yeah, folks, you're able to watch this very easy birth, if you will, of your baby. And there's a lot of ambiguity here, it's open to interpretation about whether or not this baby is real. But yeah, you'll see here that Lynn makes that comment of there's nothing there, which is very interesting. And there's a lot of perspectives out there, and I did a little bit of reading into this. There's a lot of theories going around that since Lynn was underground, and most of the game she was underground, she wasn't exposed to the sirens that you see throughout the game. And those sirens are making Blake more and more insane, more and more psychotic, and experiencing these hallucinations and flashing back to the past and his experiences with Jessica and the trauma with Jessica and her hanging herself and her being sexually assaulted by that priest, which is very sad. But yeah, a lot of theories going around that this baby is entirely fake and not real at all.
What? Like in Beauty and the Beast?
But it just goes along with the interpretation about games and, you know, the exposition, and I love that about it. There's no right answer, there's no wrong answer, there's theories that are more agreed upon and there's theories that are less agreed upon. And it's very much like the movie Inception, which was on Netflix actually recently, and I was watching that. I forgot how good of a movie Inception was. It is so good, and I love the ending to that movie. Because you don't know what's real. You don't know if Leo DiCaprio's character is in a dream or not. You don't know if that dreidel is going to fall or not. He uses that dreidel as a way to find out whether or not he's in the real world or the dream world. And if that dreidel stops spinning and it falls, he knows that when it falls, he's in the real world. Which is so cool, because I love being able to interpret that. I love being able to see whether or not that is true. And you don't get that closure. Christopher Nolan does not give you that closure towards the end of the movie, which is why that movie is so good. And I love it till this day.
Every last one. There's no more perfect faith than that.
But yeah, folks, you'll see here that all the characters in this movie are just going insane from being exposed to those sirens. Even Father Noth here.
If you love anything,
Which, I want to go back and say that I know the pacing in this game runs in a particular way, but I really thought they were going to do more with Father Noth and make him more of an enemy, where he will try to kill you and you have some sort of confrontation with him. But instead you get this. Which I can understand why. Your confrontation was more with Marta, your confrontation was more with Val, who is part of that other group. That other clan, if you will, or faction in this entire story. But I really was expecting more interaction with Father Noth. Because you see him like he is Lord Sadler in Resident Evil 4. You see his picture throughout this entire game, on the walls of people's homes. Especially people's homes who worship him and are in this village here. But yeah, we're drawing to the conclusion of this walkthrough. My very first post-commentary walkthrough. And I really enjoyed making this project, folks. I really enjoyed trying to do this the first time and posting my commentated runs of this particular difficulty and particular challenge of using only one battery while going through this difficulty. It was a very challenging run, but again, it was a lot of fun to do this. And I appreciate anybody who is able to pick this up and get some sort of benefit from it, or entertainment if they're not even playing this game. And I thank you for that.
Hey, Blake.
And now we are in the final part of this game where you just simply run towards this hallway and run back to the kitchen where you find Jessica and see a lot of juxtaposition a lot of times with her. And that is effectively the run, guys. So yeah, in terms of future projects on this channel,
I'll never let you go.
it will probably be some sort of challenge run in the future, or
Just gone away.
any Super Meat Boy videos that I finish will definitely be posted on my YouTube channel. Any successful runs that I make to get the trophies in that game, where you have to go through 20 levels at a time without dying, I will definitely post my runs of that game on this channel.
Gentle, more like the...
Those runs won't be commentated, because they will be very quick. But if I find myself wanting to commentate, I will. But yeah, folks, that is the end of Insane difficulty for Outlast 2, using only one battery. Thank you all for watching this. Thank you all for sticking with me till the end. And you all take care.